That's it. Hey! I don't know which is which, man. And one way to find out. I think that's it. What's going on, guys? Quick little update here. When I get a few of you guys in here, I'll show you the update right quick. Not going to be on long tonight. Like I say, I do these live streams because it's so much easier for me to get my stuff up onto YouTube. It takes forever here lately for me to upload a video, so that's why I do this the way I do it. But I'll get a few people in here and show you what I want to show you and give you some tips on how to fix some things. Been fixing today. Spent a lot of time fixing today, and I think I may have saved the car. What's up, man? How's it going? If you caught my last live stream, you'll see that Tester's Wet Look Clear is now melting decals due to cut costs and them changing the formula. I spent an hour and a half on the phone with them the other day, and that's what I got out of them. And if y'all caught the last live stream, y'all also know that my Miller High Life car was ruined by this clear. Now, what I did was I went ahead and I sanded the decal and all of the raised and ridged and melted areas. I taped up just the trunk lid and the hood, trunk lid and the roof. And I spent all day very light coats of that Tester's Wet Look Clear, because it's all I had, right? Very light coats. I'm talking just peppering it, you know, and I did this all day. Eventually, I got a very orange peeled dull surface, sort of shiny, but it's because of how it was sprayed, right? I never put no real thick wet coat on there. And then after I did that and it dried, I started wet sanding, and I've sanded out just about all the wrinkles except for one little area that I'm gonna have to tape it up and go again. But you see there, that decal was melted. Now right here has not been polished yet. It's very dull, and it still needs a lot more wet sanding to get it right before I can make it look like, you know, the rest of the car. But there's the roof. As you can see, I believe I've saved it, and I'm happy for that, because I put a lot of work in this Classic Plastic Appreciation build, and I just didn't want to see it go by the wayside. And it's been so long since I've actually gotten a build finished like I needed to, and I was, you know, awaiting that very eagerly. Let's see here. Little steps on the USA 1. Got the roll cage built in the truck. I'm changing this bar back here in the back to go in the other direction, so it's much more symmetrical and easier on the eye when you're looking down in there. But it's a full cage, as you can see. Let's see. It's not that hard to wet sand the paint, man. It's not that hard. If you watch my live stream last night, there's a picture of the Nova that I'm working on with Jimmy. I don't know where it's at right offhand, but it's around here somewhere. I don't know where it's at, which makes me very nervous. Oh fuck, I think it's outside. Hold on. Oh fuck. This ain't good. Oh god. Oh my god. I took it outside to take some pictures earlier today, and I forgot it there. Oh man. Okay. Here's the Nova body. If you see, there's before. No, I did that side. Damn it. I'm sorry. Let's see. Did I do this side? Let's see. This is the side. Okay. This is before wet sanding, and I got a pretty decent spray on this one, and this is after, and this is not done yet. But if you watch my live stream from last night, there's a picture looks like that of the car. I show you this panel with all the orange peel on it and all the typical stuff you get from painting it, and I wet sand it right there in real time and polish in real time, and I show you what I use in real time, and I got that result, and it didn't take that long. So go back and watch it. Everybody's afraid to sand. Everybody's afraid to use that sandpaper. You know, I use anywhere from, I hardly ever use 400 grit, but I'm always 6, 8, 1,000, all the way up to 12,000 depending on what I'm sanding. But you know, you just gotta let the sandpaper do the work. I mean, like with something like this, which is very it's a very isolated thing to sand. This is a finished car, you know, so when you're sanding this thing, you really want to take care. And like I said, with the back of this trunk, it's very orange peely and stuff. You know, you want to get a small piece of sandpaper. Now this is either 800 or 1,000. It feels more like 800. But you know, you want to use a small piece because you don't want to get on these edges. You know, and usually those compound edges hold the clear well. And if you polish it, just polish it with regular polish, it comes on out. But you know, if you can see what I'm doing here, I'm not pushing at all. I'm just letting that sandpaper do its job. You don't want to gouge it. You know, you don't want to dig into it and sand. You just want to let that sandpaper do its job. You know, and be very aware of the edges and everything that you're doing there. You know, and when the sandpaper starts to dry up a little bit, dip it back in the water and go back to sanding, you know. And what you want is a nice, uniform, dull shine on it, almost like a satin. And you know, if you go from 800 or 600, 800, 1,000, I would suggest 800. You start at 800 and then go to 1,000 and work with 1,000 and then start polishing. You know, you'll be fine. If you see, I'm not putting any weight on this at all. I mean, no weight at all. I'll go on, if you want me to, I'll just polish this trunk out for you right quick. Now I'm probably going to have to go back over it and sand it more than what I'm going to do right here. But I'm just doing this to show you how to bring the shine out in the car. You know, and you have to put enough clear on, not too much. You don't want to put too much clear. But as you can see, I'm just resting my thumb on that car. I'm just resting my thumb on it. And I'm being very aware of the edges. And periodically, I'll use my shirt for this. Periodically, I'll dry it off and kind of look, and you'll be able to see where it's more orange peeled and where there's more and where you might have to sand. And you just dip your sandpaper in some more water and go back to it. This is something you can't get, that award-winning Don Yost type paint job or Dr. Cranky type paint job in an afternoon. It's not going to happen. You're not going to get that type of shine in an afternoon. You might be able to get it in 2 or 3 days, maybe a week. But you know, this right here, the shine on your model, is what determines a lot of times whether it's going to win in a competition or not. A lot of times how good that paint is and how good that bare metal foil is and those small little details on the outside of the car. You know, they don't care that you actually ran cables for the emergency brake, you know, but they'll care about a little orange peel, you know. And a lot of people will set their car on the table with a lot of amazing detail in it and some orange peel on it, you know. And if you're going to put that time into it, you know, go a little further. And once you wet sand 2 or 3 cars, you got it, man. You got it. You'll know what to do from then on out. It doesn't take long. You work it a little section at a time. I like to anyway. I like to do the trunk and the roof. How many layers of clear do you spray. I can spray, sometimes I'll spray, you know, 3, 4. The roof has about 8 or 9, 10, something like that on the roof and the trunk of this, because I'm trying to repair it. But you want to put, you know, a few, 3 or 4 light little mist coats, or 2 or 3, like say 2 light little mist coats, little tack coats, to where it looks like a bunch of little dots all over it and it's real dully orange peely looking. You want to put that on there and let that dry for about 10 minutes. And then you want to come back and start at the bottom of the car. I always start at the bottom of the car. Start at the bottom of the car and work your way up, and you'll see it thicken as it goes. It'll get that glassy look, and the clear does reduce. So you know, that's why I say put it on easy, because you can always continue to add. You don't want to cover up detail, you know. But oh shit, I almost sanded the side of the car. But once you've got enough built up, you just go back at it. And if you sand through the clear, it's clear. You can taper back up and, you know, shoot a little clear in that spot and polish it out, and it'll be fine. But I'm gonna speed this process up a little bit and show you what I do, and show you how dull this trunk lid is at the moment, and then I'll polish it up and get the shine in there for you. You know, don't be afraid to wet sand your cars. Color sand and sand the clear. And what a lot of people don't tell you is, when you're color sanding and it all looks dull, uniformly dull, you're not going to get the scratches out of that. It's going to stay dull till you hit it with the clear. And if it's nice and evenly dull looking, not scratched up but dull looking, when the clear hits it, it just boom, it all disappears and you get that deep shine, you know. So don't be afraid to wet sand your cars. Hobby Lobby has a wonderful little wet sand kit there that you can get. Now I've been getting my sandpaper from an automotive store. But let's take a look here at what I got going on. There's still some orange peel here and there, but as you can see, that is dull. There's a shiny part where I've already worked on fixing that. That is dull. Completely dull. You see how it's nice and uniformly dull across the way there? That's what you're looking for. And when it's like that, nice and even, and as far as the decals go, every time you spray, it's going to look like the decal, you know, there's an outline around the decal. A lot of times that's just the clear building up on the decal. You can sand that out. Now, I start out with this rubbing compound by 3M. This is automotive stuff. And put a little, I use socks, believe it or not, because they're just coarse enough to do what I want to do with it. Okay, let's see here, I got a little too much on it. A little too much on it. Okay, now you just go in circular motions. That's what you want to do. And when you get done with this, it'll start to have a sheen. Not a Charlie sheen. If it's got a Charlie sheen, abort mission. You're not winning. You need to, you know in defeat. He's got fucking tiger blood and got to back up from that. But, you know, in this here, you know, you can press a little on this if you want, because this is rubbing compound. It's not extremely abrasive, but if you've got everything down to a dull hue, like I showed you, it's not going to have a problem bringing out that shine that this car is, you know, capable of with the clear, because any cured clear is sandable, you know, and you can do this with any clear. I just liked the wet look because it hardened quicker. but they changed the formula, and I am no longer using it. I've used my last little bit of it, and I won't use it anymore. Okay, I'm just about done with the first stage. Of the little polish here, and you'll see because it'll start to disappear now. Still, see how it started to shine up a little bit, and it still has the stuff on it. I haven't even took the stuff off. Let me take the stuff off here. Okay, stuff's off of it. And you see how it's starting to get a little bit of a shine there to it. Hope I'm not boring you guys to death, but I love helping people in the community, and if you're watching this, this will help you, I promise. This is like a little mini clinic, like Dr. Cranky used to do, except it's live. Okay, see how it's got that little sheen? See how it's got that little, like a dull roar coming through? Next step is we done went with the heavy rubbing compound. Now we want to go with this scratch remover. It's also from 3M. You can get both of these at Auto Discount or Discount Auto or whatever it is. And they're about 10 or 12 bucks a piece if I want to remember. But a little bit goes a long way, and you know, this will last you a long time. You just got to be careful with it, and don't use too much, because you can use too much very easily. Okay, now second part, as you can see, this is white, and you just put it on same way. Second verse, same as the first. And this here will start to make it shine a little, but the last step of this stuff that I use will absolutely make it glisten like a fresh shaved set of nuts, man. Peanuts. I know I'm losing some guys. There's not many people on here tonight, but I don't mind showing. If you don't mind, brother, I don't mind. I'll go on and show this to you, and hopefully it can help you. That shine that I get on these cars now, I used to sit back and think that I would never figure that out. I'd never figure out how to do that. And I did things like prepping the body extremely well, getting the body hot, making sure the paint can was hot, which gives you a decent enough finish. But I wasn't sanding and polishing, and you can only go so far without sanding and polishing. You know, it's something that has to be done if you want this type of shine. It's just something that has to be done, and it's not that hard to do. It's a little scary because, you know, you're taking sandpaper to your car, you know, and you can sand through the paint very easily. So that's why you got to stay away from the edges and the high points. You know, a lot of times the door handles and stuff like that, I'll sand the paint off of them messing around, but they're going to be bare metal foiled anyway, so you know it doesn't matter. So if it's a high point like that, I just be careful, make sure I don't sand the detail away. But this is doing the same thing as the last one did. It's starting to kind of disappear, and that's what you want. Let's see here. Take it off. Okay. Okay. Now, you see how that looks now? You see how she's starting to get shiny and slick? Now, if you wanted, you could stop there. If you wanted. But I can't. Gotta get better than that. Gotta get better than that. So, this stuff. I used to use Meguiar's. This stuff is awesome. I don't know what makes it so awesome, this Scratch Doctor stuff, but it's awesome. I'm telling you, I'm fixing to show you right here. It's real thin though, so you got to be careful. It's real thin, A little bit goes a long way. So I'm going to go on and place it on just like I did this other one here. Now, like I said, I'm using like Hanes socks, you know, is what I'm using. Clean socks. Of course they're clean. Don't pull them off your feet and use them. Don't do that. So you just get it on there. And this is, when you take this one off, this is where it's going to pay off, when you're going to see the shine. And also see where there's more orange peel or ripple going on, where you may have to repeat this process, you know. And like I said, this is something that you want to do a section at a time. Do the roof one night, the trunk another night, a quarter panel another night, you know. Take your time with it. Don't get in a hurry, because you're not gonna get that shine you're looking for by rushing through it. Everybody's leaving, and that's fine. I know the one person in here that I need in here is in here. Okay. Oh yeah, she's shining up pretty good. This one I'll do a little longer than the others, because this is, sometimes you'll hear it start to squeak and slide. That's when you know you're really getting that baby going. Okay, now you know what we started with. You've been here since I laid the acetous thing up in the screen, and you saw that she had no shine to her at all. None at all. She was barren. And you saw that. Okay, now you ready for the end result? Now I'm going to have to go back over and do this process again. But for the purpose of this video, there you go. Look at that. You see that? Now that wasn't that hard, was it? To get that kind of shine out of this car. That was not that hard to do. You seen how long it took me. That was real time. I sanded it with 2 different grade sandpaper. It was 800 to 1000 grit, and then I did that polishing process with those 3 polishes. You know, it was the 3M and stuff, and there you go, man. I mean, that's a pretty good shine. That's a pretty good shine. I'll show you one more time. If you need to see it up close, there it is. 3M rubbing compound to 3M scratch remover to the stuff here. So, as you can see, it's not that hard to do. You just gotta take your time. You're not gonna build it in an afternoon. I don't know if I'm subscribed to your channel or not. Let me know. Because if I'm not subscribed to your channel, I'll subscribe. And I'll check out your videos and see if, you know, how your paint's coming along. You know, don't do this on the very best model you got. Do a test model. Do a test body. I am sure you've got some shitty MPC or AMT kit lying around, because we all do. We all do. Do your paint on that. Try it all on that. Sand it, all your mold lines off of it. Prime it, resand it, and make sure all the mold lines and shit's straight. Get your primer right. Paint it, color sand it. You know, you don't have to polish it when you're color sanding it, though. That's the thing. You know, you just want the whole thing to be dull and clean. And after it's all sanded, what I do, when it's all sanded nice and clean, like I need it to be, and it's ready for the clear, what I'll do is I'll go get some Dawn dishwashing liquid, and I'll put it on the car, and I'll use my finger, and I'll wipe that whole car down. Sometimes I'll use a little rag, and I'll wipe that whole car down with Dawn dishwashing liquid, and then with hot or warm water I'll run it up underneath there, feeling with my hands, and you'll feel that car get, you know, clean, and you'll feel everything off of it, because that Dawn dishwashing liquid removes everything, right? Then you let that sucker dry, then you put it on the paint stand, and you start shooting your clear. After your clear is done, if it's done right, it'll look nice and shiny. If you're using the wet look clear, and just don't use it with a bunch of decals, and you'll start the process of wet sanding from then on out. It'll look ripply, you know, and you'll go from ripply to this with the process I showed you. And I hope I could help you. I hope I did help you tonight. I absolutely hope I helped you tonight with that. Let me know if I did. I'd like to subscribe to your channel and check it out myself and see if you accomplished anything. So that was my little update for tonight. I know it's late and not a lot of people on, so I'm gonna probably ease off of here. But there was my tip for the evening. I hope I helped you. And if I'm not subscribed to you, just as soon as this video goes up, comment on it, and I'll go sub to your channel. So there you go, guys. A little lesson there, and showed you what I'm doing on the USA 1. So I'm Lil Joe from Back Bay Scale Customs. Thank you for hanging out, you two, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye, guys.